advertising. Advertising is becoming a more important part of our overall revenue. It's still much less than the subscription side of our business, but it continues to grow. And so, from what we call EBITDA and free cash flow standpoint, we expect to have a really strong year, continuing to deliver our goals there, and that enables us to either return capital to shareholders through share repurchases and dividends, or continue to invest in the business where we see opportunities, and that can be either organic or through acquisitions.
All right, let's do this. Oh, boy, the line's just lit up. All right, Nina, Georgia, who is, and if you listen to the show, you know we always salute our first-time callers. She is a first-time caller. Go ahead, Nina. You're on with the CEO of SiriusXM, Jennifer Witz.
Good morning, Mr. Madison. Good morning, Ms. Witz. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it. I would like to know, I have a podcast in the making, and I would like to know how, not the step-by-step, but what is the first step or avenue for proposing content for your platform? And the second part is, how does a person generate revenue through advertising if they did get a podcast put up on your platform?
How do you monetize it? Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Thank you, Nina. So we're happy to take ideas. I think we'll have to come back to you with exactly the right submission process. I don't know that offhand, but we are continuing to develop and take, many third-party ideas for podcasts. The key, as you said, is how do we help creators and podcasters like yourself make money, right, and monetize it. And through we have a number of tools and resources to be able to distribute a podcast. So once we've determined that there can be a real audience, obviously that audience may build over time, but then we can help distribute the podcast across our platforms, whether it be Stitcher, SiriusXM, and Pandora, but also other platforms as well, including Apple and many others. So that, distribution and the hosting of that podcast and all of the sort of analytics around that help us match advertisers with the content on your podcast. And, that enables us to deliver really solutions for the creators, but also for advertisers who are looking for that right opportunity to reach the audience based on the content you're delivering. So it's really, it's a fascinating part of the audio business. It's been around, podcasting for many years, but really over the last few years, it's gained a lot of attention, and it's exciting because it is an easy way, I think. I know it feels probably like there are hurdles, but it really is a fairly easy way for content creators to start getting their, creations out there in front of audiences. And so, whereas, back in the day, right, Joe, with radio, it was really, you had to find the platform, you had to have somebody pick you up and really support you. And here, there's a lot more opportunity, I think, for creators.
Lewis from North Carolina, go ahead. Your question for Jennifer Witz.
Hey, how y'all doing? My question
Lewis.
is, have you ever considered adding what I call Southern Soul or Party Blues platform to SiriusXM?
We have, from a music standpoint?
Yeah, I think that Southern Soul is is sort of a genre that's very popular. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have actually some podcast content focused on that as well. But I think from a music standpoint on SiriusXM, the great thing is, because, and we've talked a bit about this, because we in the past we're only satellite delivered. We had a limited amount of bandwidth, so we could only offer so many channels to our subscribers, and that necessarily limits how much diversity we can have. But now that we are a much broader distribution, pipe, given that we have streaming also available in the car and obviously outside of the car, we are expanding our, genres, very quickly into other music genres. So I think it's a great idea, and I'm, meeting with our music programming head, later today, in fact, so I can bring it up to him and we will consider it.
Okay, there you go. Good timing, Louis. Good timing. Shakir, New Jersey, first-time caller, on with Jennifer. Go ahead. Shakir?
Good morning, Mr. Madision.
Good morning.
It's the month of Ramadan, so I got a question. Well, how would it be available for any Muslim talk space on Sirius XM? Like, would it be through a religious channel, or like how would that go?
Yes, I think, much like with, Lewis and the other caller, I think, the idea is that now with greater opportunities to provide more content to our subscribers and listeners, and across, whether it's paid or free, right? Because we have this massive distribution across, both types of listening opportunities. We can expand the types of content that we offer, and it's really just about the balance of how do we reach audiences and make sure that customers know all the great content that we have on air, and we can bring more and more diversity to our platforms, I think, across diverse voices, right? So I think that's something that we have been very focused on. I'm definitely passionate about, and it's having enough people focus on these different areas, and that's a really important part of what we are offering to our listener base.
Yeah, I remember the days when we used to get bumped particularly on weekends. Because you just didn't have as many channels, and now that situation doesn't exist. Dave from New Mexico. Dave, your question for Jennifer Witz. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Madison, and for those of you, Miss Witz, I believe it is.
Yes, Jennifer Witz. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I was curious. I had even sent after receiving service from your customer care section, I was curious, why don't you guys offer more contemporary jazz, more modern jazz? And this has been something that I have been crying for quite some time now. I mean, originally you had it when way back when XM was first initiated, and let's see, also like with the Weather Channel and with the African Channel as well.
Okay,
so I was
let's
curious
get a response.
if you were, plan to implement these in the future.
Okay.
This is so exciting. There's so many great content ideas, and I'm glad I'm meeting with the programming team regularly. It is a great idea, and I know in the past we've had to often take channels down to support new channel launches, and we're always balancing those decisions about how we can provide the best content to our listeners. And it's tricky because we have such passion around all of our channels. But again, now that we have much broader opportunity to distribute content, we can do any number of these things. More jazz, more weather channels, more unique channels focused on different communities, including Muslims or other Black-oriented stations. I think that this is a great chance for us to consider these different opportunities, and then it's really going to be about how do we make sure customers know that this content exists, and how can we either serve it up in a way that leverages some of the data we have about what people enjoy. Something like you listen to this, maybe you would like that. You see that in our apps quite a bit, but it's very hard to accomplish in the car until we have continued this rollout of 360L. But I definitely think we have a lot more opportunities to to provide a broad set of content that appeals to an even broader set of listeners, and that will help us, Joe, take more share from AM/FM.
All right, thank you. Well, let's do this. I only have 45 seconds left, and I'm going to tell you, Jennifer, every line is full. Every line, from Florida to North Carolina to Georgia, New Jersey, New Mexico, Pennsylvania. And you just gonna have to come back. I hope we can get you back on.
I would love that. Thank you so much, Joe.
And thank you. And once again, happy Mother's Day. I'm not a journalist.